Okay, there it is. I've kind of already started this project, but I wanted to film it to show you. It's pretty simple, and it's something that a lot of people might enjoy doing. I'm going across the street to our neighbor's house. We're going to be helping her out in her backyard. So I guess we'll call this episode Their House. All right, here's the plan. She's got 2 bird feeders that she has had on this hill on shepherd's hooks. And as anybody who ever has any bird feeders that they've put out in their backyard know, when you do that, you get weeds like this that grow underneath your bird feeders. So what are you supposed to do? Well, there's a couple of different things you can do about it, but short of pouring an entire pad of concrete down so that all the seeds stay on top of the concrete, and then you just come in and sweep them into the dust pan and then put them in a trash can, you need a different way to handle those seeds and prevent them from getting into your grass so that they grow a bunch of weeds. So what we've come up with is to take this shallow little pond sort of insert, and we're going to fill that with rock, all kinds of river rock and everything. We're going to kind of level it out and bury it in the ground a little bit here. And I've already kind of started, so I apologize. But then we're going to put a ring of sort of small retaining wall blocks around that. Fill the pond up with mostly river rocks and pea gravel so that we can put water in it, and it'll make a really shallow amount of water for the birds to get in and sort of take a bath. Then we're going to put another ring of those paved stones around the outside of that and mulch it so that flowers and bushes and plants and things like that can go in. And then you put the shepherd's hooks in the ground outside the perimeter of that to where they hang over, and both of those bird feeders will then be over the water, and anything that falls down will fall into the water and probably can be scooped out and cleaned out from time to time rather than growing weeds in the yard. Let's get started. All right, so first things first, right? I've got a hill. There is a side slope. Let's see if you can kind of make it out. Yep, we're going downhill. So I've got to carve this out and make inside of that circle that I measured out from the tub over here. I've got to make that fairly level, and I want to sink it in the ground so I don't have to use a whole lot of paved stones. So that's what I'm working on right now. It's just shovel work. Alright, at this point what I'm looking for is to try and get the top line of this little pond level, or close to it. And that's actually pretty close front to back and a little off side to side. But that's not too bad, that's pretty close. What I'm trying to do is get to where I have as few stones as possible up here, because I know I'm going to have more down here because I've got more height from the ground to the top of the pond up here than I do back there. So what I'm looking for is probably a course underneath this lip and a course to go around the top. But in order to make that happen, I've got this, let's see if I can show you, this lip that goes down right here. I need to run a line along here with a saw and cut that off so that I only have this top flange, and that can get sandwiched in between 2 layers of the retaining wall block. There. See, now I've just got this lip that can get sandwiched between 2 courses of the paved stones. Now these are the stones that I'm using, but they come from Lowe's and they're $1.38. They've got 2 different sizes and different colors of this type of stone, which, as you can see, has almost a trapezoid sort of tumbled appearance, and then the top is uneven, but then the bottom is smooth. These are just meant to be stacked, and if you're going to go any kind of height, I would say probably more than 18 inches or 24 inches, you may want to attach these together with some construction adhesive, some outdoor construction adhesive. But for our purposes here, we're just going to loose lay these in. You can see I've started my circle back behind me. And the main thing to look for is that when these stones go together, that they make a tight enough curve to go around that. I've checked all these and they fit perfectly. If you had a bigger bowl than that, you could use the small ones, but you may also be able to step up to the larger ones as they occupy more space and they may not make as tight a ring as these will. I'm just kind of fine-tuning the edge with a hammer. You can do it with anything really. I just want to kind of make sure that I'm making this first course a nice tight ring that will go around the bowl correctly. Alright, so we've tested it, we've dry fitted it. The little pond fits inside. You'll have to play with these a little bit and kind of space them around to make sure that they're kind of making the right ring and that it'll allow this to sit down in it. And when I hit the low side of this hill, I had to add a couple of stones in here because I was kind of getting too low for these to just sit on some sort of pile of dirt. I wanted them to sit on something solid. But now it's just a matter of probably dropping in one more course on this, and then the next course should hopefully sit on top of this lip. If it doesn't, and this is a little bit high, which it may very well be, I'll dig out the center a little bit to drop this down even further. So that's going to be the next part of this. So now the last course is on, the top is on, and that's sitting on top of that lip. So it'll anchor that. Now it's going to be further anchored because I'm getting ready to fill it up with gravel. The ladies have been down here clearing out some brush piles in the wooded area behind her house. And in those brush piles, they managed to find some decent sized small boulders. They're about the size of, I don't know, I'd say cantaloupe to basketball size. Thinking about putting one right in the middle and then pouring all the pea gravel and the egg rock and stuff around it. Because we want the water to be up near the top of that black liner, but not going over the black liner. And then we want the rocks to come up really close to the surface and possibly breaking the surface in a few places so that small birds can get in there and sit on the rocks, get a drink, take a bath, all that stuff. So that's what I'm going to do now. Put the pea gravel in and put a rock in the middle of it. First, right in the middle. Then we found this nice flat stone, and we washed all these off before we put them in, by the way. And that's going to go right there. And that's about a good height because that'll be up out of the water, and that way the birds can get on a nice flat surface. Okay, as Polly fills this up near the top, we realize we need more pea gravel. We'll have to run out and get that at another time. But now it's time to start phase two. Phase two is going to consist of more of these blocks, but this time it's going to be one ring high. And this time we're not going to worry about leveling it out. It's going to go with the grade, with the slope. We're going to go probably, we'll see how the ring lays out. I'll dry lay it first, but we're probably going to come out somewhere around 12 to 16 inches away from the perimeter of stone and lay a ring. And once I get them kind of dry fitted and make sure that it fits into the right spot, I'll go through, cut the sod out with the weed eater way down low, dig it out with a shovel like I did previously with this. We'll build the ring around, and then we're going to fill that with black mulch. That way she can plant things in there, and we can stick the shepherd's hooks down into that as well. And it'll give you a nice edge that you can weed eat around so that the landscapers don't have a hard time when they come out to mow our grass. This black mulch, if you don't have gloves on, your hands will be black for quite a while. So I'm going to try not to touch it and just dump it out of the bag.
Makes the stones stand out.
Sure does. I thought we might need two, but there's still some more left in this bag.
So if I want to plant something,
You can see how black these gloves are. We use black mulch in our yard all the time. It's great stuff. It makes everything pop, especially next to this light color, but it'll stain you up. You're going to make sure it's nice and thick, like 3 inches. Plan for it to settle in. And all these stones on the ground are doing is just giving you a nice edge for your weed eater to go along so that you can weed eat and not have the grass grow up into your flower bed. Now all we need to do is get the shepherd hooks, stick them in the ground in the black mulch. Hopefully they're going to fit. I think they've got about a 9 or a 10 inch span between the front hook and the back hook. Then we'll hang the bird feeders over this and we'll call it done. Okay, so it's done. Now, this water is a little bit dirty right now, but the fines in that water, that's just a little dust in the water that should settle. Also, you could run like an extension cord out here and put a little bubbling fountain in the middle of this for the birds to take a little bath in. But for now, they've got, that's what's gonna happen when they spill the bird seed. Let me show you. So see, in filling up the bird seed, this is what you're going to get. The bird seed is still going to fall out. There's no way to prevent that. But now it's going to be in the water. You can get that with a little skimmer net if you need to and skim it out. Or you can just leave it and let it settle to the bottom. But from time to time, you probably will need to clean this out. It's basically a bird bath. And bird baths have to be cleaned out from time to time. So that's kind of what we're looking at with this project. You're going to have some stuff like that. And that's exactly why this is here, is to catch that. They can also get the feed out of the water if they need to, but it will mold if you leave it in there over time. So this will have to be cleaned out from time to time, and that's perfectly normal and fine. But this way, the seed is not going into the grass and making weeds grow up in the middle of the lawn. Anyway, if you like this project, give us a thumbs up. Leave us some comments down below. Be sure to subscribe. Hit the bell off to the right and select all and notifications. We'll see you next time.